Hi, I'm Larry Johnson. I'm a professor at Texas A&M University, and today we're going to talk about the lymphoidal system.
Next we'll have the lymphoidal system, the spleen function and features with the red pulp and white pulp, venous sinuses, and the splenic strands, that is the Bill-Rolf strands, blood flow, penicillary arteries in the marginal zone, littoral cells, and the life cycle of lymphocytes, summary, and we're in with some questions.
Another organ is the spleen, and the spleen has a capsule and it has projections that go in through there, and then as the vasculature comes in through there, you have a central artery and a periarterial sheath. So this is like an arterial, and then there will be a sheath around it, and sometimes they have a follicle with a germinal center associated with it. And then inside, and these follicles here with the germinal centers make the white pulp. So this is white pulp and red pulp. So we don't have cortex and medulla in the spleen. You have white pulp and red pulp. In the red pulp, you have these cords, splenic cords and sinuses in between that we'll see. In the capsule and throughout the sinus, you have these reticular fibers, which are branched fibers that help support the cells that are inside there. There is a capsule in the spleen. As we can see, this is the white pulp and the red pulp out through here. In the red pulp, we have the splenic strands, or the Bill-Rolf strands, and the sinuses. This is a sinus that we have here. And the primary function of the spleen is filtration of the blood. The spleen has no afferent lymphatics either, because it's not cleaning lymph, it's cleaning blood. And here you can see the central artery and the periarterial sheath and a follicle here, characteristic of the vasculature going into the spleen and being part of the white pulp, and this being the red pulp. In the red pulp, you have the Bill-Rolf strands, or the splenic strands, and the sinuses, and that's what we're seeing in here. Right in the marginal zone being right between the white pulp and the red pulp, you have these penicillary arteries. So you have a series. The word penicillin means branched, and so you have this branching, and these arteries end blindly. They don't end in a capillary, they just end. And so they open and close, releasing whole blood into these Bill-Rolf strands that then has to percolate through and squeeze through the cells lining those. And we can see those. Here's a penicillary arteries, here, that's in there, central artery, and this is in the marginal zone. So this is a central artery, periarterial sheath, and a marginal zone where you have the penicillary arteries. And so the penicillary arteries empty into the Bill-Rolf strands without a capillary. And here we see the splenic sinuses in through there, the Bill-Rolf strands, this is the Bill-Rolf strands in here, and you see the reticular fibers. So again, we can see the strands. So you have two things, you have sinuses and you have strands. And then these are Bill-Rolf strands or splenic strands that we can see, and you see the cells are kind of taller than typical endothelial cells. And what happens is that blood that's dumped out with the penicillary arteries is in a strand. It has to squeeze through these littoral cells. So these are all the same cells. It squeezed through there, and as red blood cells get older, they're less pliable, and macrophages are there. As you see right here's a macrophage, and there we can see macrophages with the staining here is ready to eat up these cells. So here we see the penicillary arteries here, and here in the Bill-Rolf strand, which is what this is, and this is the sinuses with the so-called littoral cells, which are picket fence-like cells that the blood is dumped here, has to squeeze in through there to get back into the bloodstream. And as a cell ages, it's less pliable, and so the red blood cells are eaten up by the spleen ultimately in the end. Now the main player produced in the bone marrow, originates in the bone marrow at least, is the lymphocyte, is the main player of your immune immune response. And see, we see the nucleus of a lymphocyte, and the cytoplasm is mostly nucleus, as it's just a quiescent cell waiting until it sees its antigen so it can respond, make a plasma cell or not. And so that brings us back in the fetal organs, in the bone marrow. You have cells originating, but there's primary lymphoidal organs, which is the thymus and the bone marrow that we see. And in the thymus, we have the antigen independent. So you need these developed without the antigen. And then you have secondary lymphoidal organs, antigen dependent. They need lymph node, spleen, lymphoidal nodules. That's where the immune cells are reacting to antigen for the response that we want. And so in summary, the purpose of the immune system is to protect against foreign invaders and to maintain a germ-free environment. To do that, we have the lymph node, the thymus, spleen, appendix, and throughout the body we have lymph vessels and lymph nodes to be able to have surveillance throughout the body. We have a couple questions. The main purpose of lymphoidal traffic, the circulation of lymphocytes throughout the body, is to place the responsive lymphocytes in the region of specific antigens. Remember that you had to have a specific response, and you have to get the antigen and the reactive cell together, and that's part of the circulation. To stimulate lymphoidal growth, no. Meiosis, of course not. To clear out lymph ducts, no. So the answer is A. The functions of the spleen include clean the blood of particulate matter, yes. Remove warm red blood cells, yeah. Remove ribosomes from reticulocytes that give rise to red blood cells, yes. So the answer is E. Which lymphoidal organ contains penicillary arteries, or both afferent and lymphatic? Okay, the lymph node has afferent, efferent lymphatics. The spleen has penicillary arteries. The thymus doesn't have either one of those, and so the answer is D. So we want to thank the various books that contributed some of the drawings or illustrations that we see there. They made those. I did not make those, and we thank them for their contribution to that.
This is the end of the lymphotic system, with the spleen function and features of red and white pulp, venous sinuses, splenic strands, blood flow, penicillary arteries in the marginal zone, literal cells, the life cycle lymphocytes, summary, and questions. Thank you.